The 2015 version of the Dell XPS 13 is one of the finest ultrabooks we've seen in some time. Although from the outside it looks like a fairly typical metal-clad thin and light laptop, open it up and there's clearly something a bit different. The screen reaches almost right to the edge of the lid, with just a 5mm bezel around the outside. This compares to around 15mm for your typical laptop, and it means Dell has been able to pack in a 13-inch display into a chassis you'd normally associate with a 12 or even 11-inch machine. Saving an inch or so in depth and width may not sound like too big a deal, but the difference is definitely noticeable day to day. What's more, it simply feels like the future. Laptops with conventional thick bezels suddenly look archaic in comparison. What's more, this is among the finest displays we've ever used on a laptop. Colours leap from it and there's huge contrast between the deepest blacks and brightest whites, plus the matte finish keeps reflections at bay. It's a full HD panel, so is somewhere between the sharpness of a MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro's Retina display. And it's a pretty good compromise as Windows still struggles to properly manage ultra high resolutions. That said, if you are tempted, there is an even higher resolution version with a touchscreen, but it wouldn't be our first choice, especially given how much more expensive it is. Elsewhere, this is a more typical premium ultrabook, with Dell not pursuing the ultra thin and light aesthetics of the latest MacBook. As such, while still relatively thin overall, it doesn't taper to a fine point, and at just under 1.3 kilos, it's only a tiny bit lighter than the 13-inch MacBook Air. This does mean there's plenty of space for connectivity though, with 2 USB ports, a mini DisplayPort, an SD card reader, and there's even a battery life indicator. A compromise of the ultra-thin bezel is the webcam has had to move to a less convenient position to the bottom left of the display, but it's a small price to pay. More of a concern is the keyboard, which has had to shrink slightly to fit in the more compact chassis. Combined with a key action that feels just a little less defined than alternatives, and you have a typing experience that is a notch or two below the very best. It's a shame, as elsewhere the new XPS 13 gives away little. Its trackpad is excellent, one of the best we've ever used on a Windows machine, and performance is entirely competitive thanks to the latest Intel Broadwell chips and fast SSD storage. Battery life is also right up there with the best, recording nearly 11 hours in our web browsing and video playback test. What really marks the new Dell XPS 13 out as an exceptional machine though is its price. Starting at just £799, it's among the cheapest truly premium ultrabooks you can buy, and crucially undercuts the MacBook Air while delivering more in the way of features. If you're after a great looking thin and light laptop, this has to be high up on your shortlist.